Titles, Assistant Head Coach Mike Reed. Please fire away questions whenever you're ready.
I have to think that kind of in those last days of preparing for Georgia, and you've kind of got some injuries back there. Did you ever go to bed one night and, man, I don't know who we're going to put out there against Georgia, but it's been a great product so far. I mean, you'd have to think that everybody's kind of battled through and played really well.
Yeah, they've had a good fall camp, and that's the blessing to have a bunch of healthy guys right now. Usually it's not that way around here with defensive backs. So I've been very pleased. Guys have come back, worked hard, and it's a testament of our strength staff and guys buying in.
I think Ashton Hampton ended up getting a few snaps against Georgia. How did he develop throughout August to be prepared for that Georgia game for those opportunities if needed?
Practice. We've got it. Heck, you saw what our offense did this weekend, and going up against that every day in practice, gets these kids prepared. And it's kind of funny because Ashton didn't play corner in high school; he was a safety. So for him to make that transition, was eye-opening for him.
Was it difficult for him when he was taxed to switch positions?
He comes from a football family. His dad is the head football coach at Arkansas Pine Bluff. His brother played DB for Northwestern and Tulane, so it's in his DNA. He's a football player. So him making that transition, and it wasn't big. One of those kind of things that it's a challenge to him.
With Avion Terrell had 4 pass breakups, I think one shy of tying the school record. How has he been just his consistency, his performance through these first 2 games from your perspective?
He goes about it with a professional attitude. He comes to work every day. He works hard. He has a chip on his shoulder. He's always got something to prove. So from me, it's been evident. When he was 9 years old, coming on campus, coming to Davos Sweeney football camp. He was always out to prove himself. So it's nothing of a shock. It's good that he's getting an opportunity to do it and showcase to everyone. That he's more than just being AJ's little brother.
And speaking of AJ, we spoke to him before the Georgia game. He said Avion has been better than him at any stage of football as AJ. I guess from your perspective, coaching both, do you agree with that assessment? And what are the similarities and differences between the two?
Well, it's definitely a difference. There's different in the aspect that AJ was quiet. Whereas Avion, he's gonna let you know he's in the room, which is. He's great. Both of them are great kids. Love to work with both of them. I guess I would say, Avion's had more success up until this point than his brother has. And it's just, telltales, different season, different reasons, things like that. So.
With Ashton, who told you the story first about him showing up at the airport? Was it in Tampa?
Yes.
Who told you that story, and kind of how did they? If you can relay it, that would be great.
Well, it actually goes back further than that. Me and Ashton's dad were roommates and teammates in the NFL, and we played in the NFL Europe together. So I've known about Ashton since he was a baby. It was just ironic that his dad was coaching at USF, and his Pop Warner team was one of the teams selected to be on the tarmac for the national championship game, and Alabama arrived first, and Nick Saban at the time didn't allow any of his players or his staff members to interact with these Pop Warner kids, and you know how we do things here. We're all about community and making sure that we do things in a way that exemplifies Clemson. And he took a picture with me, my daughter, and so it's been something I've always kept. It's crazy because, you fast forward, you didn't know he was going to be who he is now. I still have the picture on my phone, and at that time, Ashton probably was about 4 or 5, and now he's 6'2.5". So who would ever know?
Can you share that picture with Ross? Do you mind?
I will. I definitely will. Just
Thank you.
Make sure you remind me of that.
I think during the summer you mentioned that you wanted to see Jaden Lucas. He has see him play since it's been a while since he was able to play on the football field. Through fall camp, through the first 2 games, what have you seen from him in his performance.
You've seen flashes. I mean, you've seen the reason why we recruited him out of high school. I mean, the kid's dynamic. He has size, speed. He's athletic, and it was good for him to get out there, against Georgia, and have some success. For a kid who's been injured off and on the past couple of years, now he's getting an opportunity to go out there and show everybody, why we recruited him and why he's such a good player, and why he's special to our program.
I think he mentioned that he was kind of out on a shoulder injury entering that game, but he made one of the first open field tackles, and he said he didn't feel it. I guess how big was that for him to see him just go out there and see that the shoulder is fine?
Good, because a lot of times when kids have that in the back of their mind, they're a little apprehensive and gun shy, and to see him to go out there and just play free was great, And so it's one of those kind of things. You come back from injury, you don't know, and you have that first test, and you go through that first test, and you're unscathed and you're good. Now your confidence through the roof.
Any questions for Coach virtually? Anybody else in the room?
This season, as it started to develop, just from your perspective, the response from this team and their mentality that just kind of gives you confidence moving in as you now have a couple of weeks of games under your belt.
Well, it's something that's been very evident through camp and through last spring is the leadership over these young men. We have some great leaders. We have a team that actually loves each other, loves to be around each other. And when you have that in the equation, you have success. And it's good to see it. As I always say, football. If football was like life, we'd be in a better place, especially with a team like this, where you see love, guys caring for each other, hugging each other, hanging out with each other, not just in the facility, but outside the Reef Center.
It sounds really obvious. It's a great opportunity to get lots of guys in there and to get film on all these different guys. But really, from a coaching perspective, how valuable was this weekend and just the sheer number of guys that got to see themselves on film today this week when you guys went through that film?
Well, twofold, it does something for those young men because, everybody comes out here and they want to play. And they practice hard, and it's like, they deserve to play. So let's play them. And on the other side as a coach, guys are one play away from playing. So you have a guy that goes down for an injury, you don't want the guy that's replacing him to never have played before. So when you give him that valuable time in the game, now he gets to build his confidence up so that when it comes his time to go out and perform, he's performing at a high level. Because, you don't want guys, as we say, we want guys to play to the standard, and the standard is your best.
Is this the deepest room you've had?
It's crazy that you asked that because, I say that because when I used to coach all 20 of them, that was deep. So now when I'm coaching, I guess 9 of them, I would say yes. And from that aspect, from just a sheer cornerback standpoint, I would say yes. Guys that I can put in the game and feel comfortable going and doing the job.
How confident were you in how comfortable were you with Shelton Lewis getting his first kind of game reps against App State this past week?
Well, for people that notice, Shelton actually got his first game reps this week as a nickel. So it just shows his versatility of what he can do. And I love it because now this kid can play all over in the secondary and have success. And when you have guys that are interchangeable like that, now it's like, okay, plug and play, So if somebody goes down another spot, hey, we can plug this kid there because he knows this position. So when you have that right at your capability, you're going to have a great team.
He learned nickel in preseason.
Yes.
How did he kind of get acclimated to that new position, switching from corner to?
Well, it's one of those kind of things. A lot of guys have aspirations on playing in the NFL, and it's my thing is the more you can do, the more valuable you are to a team, the more value you bring to a team. We're just talking NFL right now. You have a kid that can play only corner, but then you have another kid that can play nickel and corner. Which one you going to take? You going to take the kid that brings more value because in the NFL you only have a 53-man roster, so it adds value you know. And so, it, you know, for him, you know, it puts him in a situation where, you know, we can plug and play him, and you know, and he can have success.
And Coach Sweeney added some support coaches to the staff this offseason. I guess your role as special teams coordinator, how did that kind of change with guys like Coach Allen coming in and coaching the punters, I guess, for you?
I mean, it's great. I mean, heck, I don't know how to kick a punt. No, I don't know how to kick a ball. This guy has done it, and has done it on every level and had success. You know, I mean, he probably will have more credibility coaching punters than I would. They probably look at me like I got a unicorn, I'm like a horn on my head. You know, but this guy brings that credibility with him, and it's great to have him in the room. All right, because now those guys can have a specialty coach to go to that can tell them all the intricacies of punting the ball or kicking the ball.
How much has Will Gilchrist added value and kind of taken some of that pressure off of what you?
I mean, you know, a lot. You know, because and he was on the staff last year, but there was only a certain amount of things that he could do. Now he's actually out there; he can help us coach. So it gives us another set of eyes. You know, so now our kids are you know constantly getting coached. You know, as we say now, you know the player to coach ratio is 1-to-1. You know, so there's somebody that's coaching a kid every play, every snap. Whereas you know one play, you know, in the previous years, you know, you may miss a guy because you're looking at somebody else too. Well, now everyone has a specific coach coaching them on every play. So it allows them to get, you know, to get direct feedback right now.
You're fortunate that you coached both AJ and now Avion. People are always saying, how similar are they? How are they different? Somebody asked me that the other day on the radio. I said, look, they both just have a nose for the football.
Exactly.
It's going to be around it. But what you know, how do you kind of compare and contrast the two of them?
I mean, just from a physical stature, one's 6'1", one's I'm gonna give him 5'11". That'd be nice, you know. They're you know they both have great ball skills. They're both quick, you know. It's you know I would say, like I said, you know, Avion is more like the pit bull. Okay, he's the one that you know he's in your face. He's very you know tenacity. AJ was one of those guys that you know he's not going to say nothing. He's just gonna go up there and he's gonna do. You know, he's gonna go home at the end of the day and you're gonna be like, whoa, this kid shut down their best receiver. Whereas Avion, you know, you're gonna hear it. You know, he's gonna let you know that he's shutting down. You know, and like I said, it's been great to coach both of them. You know, I love the fact that I've been able to coach a brothers tandem like that. You know, not many people in college football get that opportunity. So I've been blessed.
Avion says he has more swag.
That's Avion. You know, that's Avion. You know, that's what you get when you're a little brother. You know, it's always gonna be that little inner confrontational thing between each other. But I love it. You know, being a part of that family for a long period of time.
I think Avion mentioned that his nephew is going to be the next great Terrell.
I hope so. Well, I'm just hoping that I'm alive then. I want to see him. Yeah, I will say this: he's tough. He's tough. He ain't got no fear.
Anybody else for Coach Reed? All right, Coach, thank you for your time.
Thank you.